Hey everyone, welcome back to Keeping Democracy Alive. My name is Rem Hellman. I am a junior. I'm majoring in international relations. Um, and this is a speaker series that I started after the COVID world began. It's a social justice speaker series, and I seek to highlight various figures throughout our community who do incredible work and who I think need to be highlighted. So since it's run through my Hillel program, the Cummings and Hillel program for Holocaust and Genocide Education, I want to give a shout out to all the people in Hillel who helped make this happen: Lauren Bloom, Pete Loeb, and Hannah Rich. So thank you guys. But without further ado, I'm very excited. I know I say it every week, but I guess I just have a great list of people. But I'm really, really excited to have Mr. Crossley, Reginald Crossley, here because he's been a huge mentor throughout my life. I did a program that's led by him in high school, which definitely helped develop my character, and we'll talk about that later. So without further ado, Mr. Crossley, please introduce yourself, and then we can get into talking.
Ram, thank you so much for having me. Great to see you blossom into this sharp young man and taking the leadership role at your school and creating this speaker series. Commend you for your work, sir. You've always been an outstanding young person, even when you were part of our Fulton County Youth Commission program. So again, my name is Reginald Crossley. I have worked in a wide range of youth-related areas. I have done a lot from being a school teacher to overseeing 24 of the Metro Atlanta Boys and Girls Clubs as their education director to working in county, city, and state government. Just in a nutshell. So I've worked in many facets of education. My passion has been empowering young people, creating local government programs that create solutions to youth issues.
Okay, I think that's a good start. So as we talked about, I think the best place to start is kind of starting at the beginning, right? So talking about your dad, I know that in your bio, you often write about your dad, how he was a huge inspiration for you. So you want to talk about him real quick?
Absolutely. My father is an amazing man, not just because he's my father, of course, but many other people who have worked with him, who he has touched in his work, will, I'm sure, echo some of the same words. But he is a man of many skills as well, and pushed me early on to get involved in the community, to be part of local campaigns and connect with elected officials where I grew up in, which was Connecticut. And he has very much become a staple in that community and, has just done so much for so many people. My mother as well, who, my house is almost like a safe house in the community. And people would come, whether they wanted a meal, or they needed advice, or things such as washing clothes or, borrowing money. My family has really been a social services type of family that has always helped people, regardless of your background or, your areas of need. So I grew to embody some of those same characteristics and, just kind of gained an interest in working with people and working with young people specifically. My mother actually used to have a group home as well. And I know I'm kind of shifting and talking about my mother, but, behind every strong man is a strong woman. And definitely my mother has been that person who, has been the co-pilot with all of the work that my father has done. She had a group home and has taken in so many young people. She served in our home growing up, served as like an emergency shelter for what we call Department of Family and Children's Services in Connecticut. So we would get random calls, 1, 2 a.m. We have an emergency placement. We need to send this kid to your house. So growing up kind of in that environment, kind of always having to have the compassion and understanding and meeting people where they are to understand what they've kind of been through, and them coming into our house and starting a new chapter, and us kind of helping them in any way we can. So I grew that passion and interest in people and social services. To this day, my mother is still serving as an emergency shelter for the state of Connecticut.
Wow.
And we have adopted several people, like kind of officially adopted and changed their last names. And they're living in my home now in Connecticut, or have moved on to start their own families, have gone to college. And a lot of it has been because of my parents' just passion and love for people and their willingness to help in any way possible, and have pointed so many young people in the right direction. So I've really embodied a lot of what I was exposed to growing up, and which was what led me to working with young people, becoming a teacher.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So why specifically, I mean, I guess it's a good stepping stone to get into other things, but what specifically appealed to you about being a teacher?
Honestly, I never wanted to be a teacher. And I got an opportunity in college through my work study instructor, who signed me up to be a sub teacher. She just felt that I would be the ideal person that the school system was looking for. She referred me to the job. I interviewed for it. I got hired. I had the school credits and the courses that were required at the time to start as a sub teacher. And the rest is history. So I went in. I worked with their OSS program, kind of out of school suspension. ISS program, in school suspension. And we would just teach young people life skills and kind of get to the root of why they're acting up in class, or what the issues may be with other individuals that appears within the schools. So from there, I became a school counselor, and working with parents and parent-teacher meetings, and doing kind of conflict resolution between students and families and teachers. And then I actually became an official teacher. I went ahead and took my certification course, became a teacher, started teaching elementary school in Atlanta Public Schools.
Is that when you first came to Atlanta?
Yes, this is kind of when I was already in Atlanta. I was in college, of course. I had been in Atlanta for several years at the time. At this point, I graduated college and went straight into education, and working with elementary youth. And then I moved on working with middle school. Did some work in high school as a school counselor in high school. I worked at Mays High School with the Eagles Academy, which is no longer a program within Mays High School, but it was a leadership program, essentially just instilling leadership qualities and life skills into young men. And, so I did a lot of that work. Then I moved on to working for the Boys and Girls Club. I had kind of built a lot of experience in curriculum development, lesson plans, things of that nature, which was the skill set required to be a director with the Boys and Girls Club. So for several years, I developed curriculum and lesson plans to make learning fun and creative. And from there, I got an opportunity to work for the state. And when I went to the state, I got certified in a lot of areas to be a drug prevention and intervention specialist, to be a violence prevention specialist. I was certified as a gang specialist. I went through all sorts of trainings and series and things, and I started training correctional officers and police officers, teachers, principals, on how to identify gang activity in their schools, how to address issues of violence and fights and things of that nature. Also drug issues, young people who may show signs of drug use, and maybe families who may have a drug abuse issue within the house. So I did a lot of work in the counseling aspect and more of an intervention aspect, working with families and parents, specifically at the time, throughout the state. And then I got the opportunity to start working for Fulton County, similar capacity, overseeing a leadership program, which we mentioned earlier, the Fulton County Youth Commission, which is an outstanding program for young people who have an interest in government or who simply want to serve as a voice for youth and represent their respective schools and districts. So, it was right up my alley. So when I got the opportunity, I was appointed to come on and, hit the ground running, taking on initiatives and directives from our Fulton County Board of Commissioners with the many challenges in communities throughout Fulton County. Bring in youth commissioners in like yourself, Rem, who would help us identify from a youth's perspective what they felt were the most pressing issues in their schools or communities. So we would tabulate that information, create our agenda for the program, and create real life solutions, legislation, policies, programming, to help combat what we identify as issues within Fulton County and throughout the state of Georgia.
Okay, so you didn't want to go into teaching, but you knew you wanted to do something like your dad, which was impact the community, maybe be in politics, right? And so, yeah, go ahead.
So actually, I wanted to be a pediatrician. I always wanted to work with young people. So I started off as a bio pre-med major, and that didn't last too long. I commend those who are bio and pre-med majors. It is a very, very tough route in college, and many sleepless nights. Not going to party in college. You're not going to hang out with your friends. You're going to only do bio and pre-med work. So long story short, I changed majors, went into public relations and psychology and early childhood development. And
so that's
what brought me into education.
That's when you started thinking about, like, you're like, I can't do this bio stuff. So you started thinking about politics? Or was that so far out there you weren't even thinking about that yet?
It was so far out there. I never even imagined that I would be working in a political capacity or even, thought that I would run for office. Also, while in college, I was taking all of these, psychology and early childhood education and PR related courses. I had teachers pulling me in different directions. I had my public relations teacher pulling me into PR for BT Viacom, which I did some work with them while in college. I also had another early childhood education teacher who was pulling me and who recommended me to be a sub teacher. And I had another teacher who got me into doing after school tutorials, and I was like a tutor. I did after school programming. I did summer camp. So I had a lot of people throughout my journey kind of help me and point me in the right direction. And, as a result, I kind of went in a lot of different directions. But I really settled in, as you can see, youth services, human services, and government essentially for the past really about 14 years I've been in government now.
Yeah. All right. So you kind of went through everything real fast. I like it. Let's back up. I wanted to talk a little bit first about like the work that you've done throughout Atlanta and how you've impacted the homeless communities. So you want to touch on that real quick?
Yes. In 2009, from a directive from the late, great Emma Darnell, she was a county commissioner who had a passion for people as well and knew within her district homelessness, sex trafficking, sexual exploitation was a big issue. And the Fulton Industrial Corridor of Atlanta has been identified as the southeast hub for sex trafficking and exploitation. So as a result, we brought the directive from the commissioner to the youth commission body, and we came up with HOPE, which is an initiative to help youth who are homeless specifically and bring resources to low-income pockets throughout Fulton County, but we focused at the time on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. So HOPE stands for helping other people every day. And we have empowered thousands of people. On an annual basis, we can serve over 10,000 people just simply through the food and pantry programs we facilitate. We used to do a initiative called Campaign to Fight Hunger. And it was a play on words, CAN, C-A-N, pain, to fight hunger. So we would have like Publix compete with Kroger's, or we would have rival schools compete with each other on who can collect the most non-perishable items. And the winning school would get featured by news outlets. They would receive a plaque and award from our Board of Commissioners, would be recognized, of course, by our board. And, and we also work closely with the Atlanta Food Bank. So the food we collected would go out to families that are within the Atlanta Food Bank network, which are seniors, low-income families, people who have been kind of handpicked and gone through a process. So we know for a fact that they need the help. So it was an outstanding program. We would also offer toiletry items. And within each Hope box, we had what we call a Hope card. And this card featured resources for health, shelter, rehabilitation, sex trafficking. And we would also bring these service providers on site to help these families and kind of meet them where they are and bring the services to them. Because oftentimes, the homeless population may not want to go into a government building. They may not believe in government, to be honest. So we believe in bringing the services to the people. And we would bring the Colgate vehicle to do teeth cleanings on site. We would bring our physicians out to do screenings on site. We would do intake. We would find out what their needs are, and we would immediately on site refer them to agencies and give them a Hope card to take to the agencies. And these agencies would recognize the Hope card. And the Hope card would feature these services, but on the other side, it would also almost be a voucher that they can walk into any of those agencies and receive services free of charge.
Hmm. And so what was your role in developing? You were at the helm of developing all that program, right?
Yes, I was at the helm, Mr. Hellman,
Yeah.
of developing the Hope Initiative. I myself and some students came up with the name. We identified all of the service providers. Of course, with the help of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, they funded the entire initiative. The materials required to assemble our Hope boxes were all from Fulton County taxpayers, realistically tax dollars at work. And that's a statement we would always share. These are your tax dollars at work. This is how we're spending tax dollars in the county. And infusing resources and essential items to low-income pockets, really helped uplift the entire community. We would even hear from owners of businesses in the area, and they would thank us. Since you guys been around, we would have less people, in front of our stores, and people asking for money and food. We would help to sustain them at least for a week or two or three. And until we come back around. This was an initiative we held first and third Saturdays was originally when we launched the program. So 2 times a month. So we would give them enough food and supplies, to hold them until we come back that second time. So very inspiring, very impactful program. We've been featured by so many news outlets for this particular initiative. And we for sure have served, at this point, probably close to 100,000 people.
Yeah, I think it's a good transition because some of my favorite memories from Fulton County Youth Commission were definitely the various runs, I guess you could say, that we did around the city, going to homeless people, and I remember specifically you stressing it's not just about the food, it's about the connections that we were making with them, right?
Correct.
A lot of these people get lonely or don't have anyone to talk to or have lost family as a result of their situation. and we were kind of just out there being friendly faces, being people there for them, which I think is kind of a um, a good microcosmic example of what Fulton County Youth Commission stands for, right? We're kind of trying to be there for the community, think of unique ways to give back. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Fulton County Youth Commission. I mean, you talked about how you were appointed to lead it, but what was your vision once you got appointed that job? When they were like, Mr. Crossley, we want you to do this. Instantly, what was your thought? What was the direction you wanted to take it in?
Well, when I first got there were some pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Because the program has been around since 1999. So I came in essentially 2008, kind of early 2009. And, so the program already had a framework and a platform. So what I did was just add features to it. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We identified what was working well and what wasn't working, and we focused our energy and resources into what was working. We also started to engage more young people. What I attribute the success of the program, and also what keeps us ahead of the curve, and what makes us the pulse of the community as it relates to young people, is that we have such a diverse group and people of all walks and from all districts, from all economic backgrounds, from all races and religions. So, we're like the UN. And, so we had a very collective view of what the needs were, and of course, a very creative way to offer solutions. So that's what we came in doing. I came in surveying thousands of young people on an annual basis. And not only students, but teachers, counselors. We want to hear from them. What are your concerns? What, from your perspective, or from your district, what are, the low-hanging fruits, in a sense, that you think we can easily tackle? And I started to put very realistic approaches to, how we went about offering these solutions. And the program has been a success ever since. We like to lead things that we can take control of, or we have the resources to do. We don't like to just, shoot from the hip with no plan or direction, especially when we're using taxpayers' dollars. So, that has been a success of the program, understanding firsthand from the people, what their needs are. And then, of course, involving young people at the table. There's nothing better than having a for youth, by youth type of approach.
Yeah.
Not only are we the consumers, but we're also the ones, offering, the product, if you will. So it's been an amazing program. So these young people help create laws, policies, and overall solutions to youth issues. So we identify, we review legislation that may be, what's the word? I'm trying to find a good word. Legislation that may be, irrelevant at the time, or maybe when it was created, it was good for that time frame, but, with the growth of technology, with, as things evolve and as things go in different directions, legislation needs to be revamped. Yeah. So we had a committee focused on identifying and reviewing legislation and offering, suggestions on how to rewrite the legislation, or really to even eliminate various pieces of legislation. So that was a great aspect. We had a social progress committee, and we still do have these committees. Just talking about the launch of the program. So I broke the program into sections and departments, if you will. So we have a legislative committee, we have a social progress committee, we had a health committee, and then we had a public relations committee. And I don't know if the PR committee was there when you were there, Rem, but now we have a PR committee.
Yeah.
It's in charge of getting their word out, engaging their peers, using the outlets that, can best communicate our agenda or our solutions or our resources. So our PR committee has been a great addition to, our general view of the program. But these young people are truly operating as young elected officials, and many of them take the role very, very seriously. They wear their name badges. They wear suits to school to ensure people know that they're working on behalf of Fulton County and they're in a official capacity with government, and which they are. And I always encourage them and push them to wear your suits, wear your name badge, go places and connect with people, and you'll see the doors just open. So we have been able to do so much with the program, and to watch it grow from where I took it to where it is now. I can't take the credit for it, but we have had so many amazing young people like yourself, Rem, who have come through with the ambition and the energy and the creativity to see things from a different viewpoint, come in, add features, revamp, and we continuously grow and build and stay relevant for those reasons.
Yeah, and I think beyond all the incredible work that you guys, I guess I could include myself in that.
Absolutely.
That we have done with Fulton County Youth Commission. As I said earlier about the development of my character, I think one of the biggest things, it's kind of amazing for you, right? You were a teacher, and this is like, what's a better way to teach than through this, right? Like, this is, I've always been an advocate for, I'm not a big fan of tests. I don't like just memorizing stuff and doing multiple choice answers. I like to see my knowledge, the things that I've learned from a semester, let's say, put into a piece of work, right? And you have, I guess, not single-handedly, there were people before you, and we have the commission watching over us, but you specifically have been at the helm of this program, thinking of how can I create a better future? One, by doing work now, by giving back to the community, by figuring out ways to prevent drug use, prevent drunk driving, prevent kids from dropping out of school too soon, all these various things that we've worked on, but also thinking, how can I give a teenager the opportunity to do something greater than they might have thought of, right? So you've created or helped create this incredible opportunity for people to just develop their character and become leaders in whatever capacity fits for them. So I wanted to commend you for that. But yeah, would you agree that this is no different in a way than teaching, right? Like you're at least now you're more of a mentor, you're a guide, I guess, not a teacher. But what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. It definitely is not too different from teaching. I see teachers as of course, guides, and this program has definitely been a guide. It's like, it's like we're a doorway. And when you get to the doorway, you're on your way in to the program. And, I find out what's your interest, what area do you want to go into, or what are your skill sets? Say, oh, okay, here goes a flashlight. You go to this direction, go to that committee, because I know you have a passion for that area. And, that's essentially how I see the program. When everyone comes in, there's a place for everyone. And, I try my best to give them a tool or a skill that's going to take them further on their journey or help them do better on their journey. So absolutely, this is similar to teaching. I do see myself as a mentor to many of these young people or an advisor. And it's great to see many young people move on, but still stay connected with me in the program and call me. I've been invited to weddings. I've been asked to be the godfather for some of the children now of the Youth Commission. We have youth commissions. We're having kids who have started their own medical practices or law firms, or they're entrepreneurs and have their own businesses. So it's great to see how we've built such an amazing family and network of people. So you can call me, as a youth commissioner and say, oh, I just moved to Boston. Do you have any youth commissioners there? Absolutely. We have young people everywhere, literally. And I'm able to connect those dots and keep the program and the family growing. And that's the part of the program that is near and dear to me.
Yeah.
That You'll have friends that you and relationships you've built forever. You know, and we could talk about even our team building retreat.
Yeah.
We come in as strangers and we leave as family.
Yeah, exactly.
And to this day, people will still share those experiences and how much they've gained from those experiences and the friends that they are now still in contact with, you know, many years later. So, you know, that's the impact that, you know, I'm happy to see in the program.
And that's exactly why I brought up that point and also brought you on. You know, I think often people think of social justice and think about, um, I don't know, helping communities of color, thinking about people with disabilities, thinking about the homeless as it used to do. But oftentimes it's overlooked that, you know, impacting the youth of America is is just as important as anything else, right? You are contributing to the future actively by building a foundation of youth that are ready to come into society, that are ready to come do have an impact and have connections to other people who are ready to have an impact, right? Um, we have a few minutes left, but I quickly want to ask you, do you think that this is scalable, right? Like, this is not something that we see in every city in America or every county in America, right? This is a pretty unique thing that we have here in Atlanta of having students basically being part of government and influencing government decisions. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it could be adopted elsewhere?
Absolutely. The program is definitely scalable, and we have been helping many other governments and counties model this youth commission program. We've even had some international exposure, and we've worked with many countries: Germany, Turkey,
Wow.
Brazil, China, France, Paris, and specifically right before the pandemic, we hosted a group of delegates and officials from Paris who had an interest in the Youth Commission, who had heard about it through, I don't even know, we were still trying to figure out how they got connected to me. But there was like, they heard from the program through another elected official who heard about it through a friend who heard about it through someone, and I got a call.
Wow.
And he flew in to Atlanta, spent a week. We sat down. I gave him all the ins and outs of the program. I shared the various committees and initiatives. I gave him a nice packet of just essentially best practices and how we go about developing the program, copies of the application, and they have been launching, you know, various youth commissions throughout France.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've noticed as I've grown up is I think America has a lot to learn from other countries, right? And I think that you know, if people from Paris are hearing about it and flying over for a week to figure out how to make it happen in one of the largest cities in the world, we should definitely be expanding it here on our home ground.
absolutely. And we've done a great job doing that. So
Yeah.
most Metro Atlanta counties now have youth commissions. So we've worked with most of them: DeKalb, Cobb, Gwinnett, Macon, Bibb. So, you know, the program is doing well. And we serve as, there's a group called the ACCG, the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. So I serve as a keynote speaker for the youth component of this very large scale conference. So we bring commissioners, county commissioners from all throughout the state. And, you know, they bring their youth, you know, officials and people who work in the areas of youth for those respective counties.
Yeah.
And I do like a really deep dive, you know, on how to launch the program, our successes, our best practices, you know,
Amazing.
what features we have. So it's growing, and you know, the longer we're out there, the more we do, the more interest we get. And like I said, we are getting calls from all over about launching the program. And the truth is, we're not the first youth commission. You know, the very first youth commission was based in Chatham County. We launched the same year, but they were honestly the very first youth commission. I believe they launched in maybe May, and then we launched later that year in September.
Was it, were you guys coordinating before, or it kind of just happened like that? You know?
Yes, so the original founders of the program, Nancy A. Boxell and Michael H. Hightower, they were in discussion with elected officials in the Chatham County, Savannah area. And they spoke about creating this platform for youth in government.
Wow.
So Chatham County launched it. They went ahead and did it first. They engaged their counterparts here in Fulton County, which was Nancy Boxell and Michael Hightower. And we launched it here as a board resolution in 1999. And the rest is history.
Mm. So I know you have to get going. So my final question that I want to ask you is just, what can people do to get involved in this mission of impacting the youth? You know, I think a lot of people think, yeah, we just need to allocate our tax dollars as a society to better the education. But I mean, I think we've demonstrated here in Fulton County that that's not all that can be done. So what are things that the average person can do to benefit the youth of America?
I would say it first starts with investing your time. You know, there's nothing more valuable than time. And young people also value your time. So it's not always about the money, because people can easily just throw money at something, but that doesn't make it impactful. Or, you know, oftentimes the money's not spent in the right way or by the right people. So I always say, you know, start by identifying an individual that you think may need a mentor, and start pouring time into them, you know, or start with your local county or city officials. You know, identify what the needs are in your respective community, and bring some people who are willing to invest the time into seeing through a solution to those issues. You know, oftentimes most things can be solved with just time and compassion. It's not always the money required to make things happen. And, you know, oftentimes people confuse, you know, money with impact, or assume that your money invested equals an impact. You know, it's always best that you be patient, involve the people that, you know, you want to offer solution towards. It's like any other major corporation. You know, before they launch a new product, they're going to go fact find. They're going to go in the community. They're going to engage their consumers. They're going to ask them what they like or dislike, and what can we do better as a company, or what product or what services, or, you know, what flavors you like in this new, you know, whatever the case may be. Even our Fortune 500 companies will take the time to fact find, to hold focus groups and town hall meetings or think tanks. And as we would always launch and start our year with those sorts of efforts, you know, so I would say anyone who has a true interest in empowering their community, first go to the people, hear them out, identify what they feel from the local people's perspective, what the needs are, and in turn find a way to offer a solution. You know, you don't have to start big. And my point earlier, we look for the low-hanging fruits first. You know, what can we directly impact, or what do we have resources or manpower to facilitate, and start to explore those areas. And I guarantee you it will be a success. You start slow, you focus on the low-hanging fruits, you invest your time, and of course you have to have a passion for some of this work. It's not for everyone. You can be easily discouraged. There are oftentimes barriers and challenges, and you know, the lack of resources, you know, that you'll find in these areas. So, you know, don't let that discourage you. But, you know, if you're passionate and you're willing to dedicate your time and energy, and see it through, it will work out.
Mr. Crossley, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man. I'm so proud of you, man, with this beard going in. Even though you tried to shave it for the interview, I can still see it, man. I still have some old pictures of you.
You're calling me out. Calling me out on my own show. Wow.
Yeah, man. I love you, man. I'm proud of you. Please send my regards to your family. Are you still playing soccer?
Yeah, I am. I'm playing soccer as much as I can. Yes, sir.
Okay, I hope to see you on the professional screen very
Oh
soon,
no,
sir.
that's quite the expectation you got on me. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we can play some soccer together someday.
I'm actually pretty okay. I won't say good. I'm okay in soccer.
We'll
I would love
we'll
to try, but I'm sure you're way better than I am.
we'll reconnect over a game of soccer. But thank you so much for your time today.
Thank,
I think that your voice is one that needs to be heard, and I'm glad that it will be heard. So thank you for
thank you for reaching out, Ram, and for staying connected. Let's continue to stay connected.
yes,
If I
sir.
can help in any way or put you in contact with anyone, please don't hesitate to call. Again, send my regards to your family and keep doing your thing, sir. You know, I
Yes,
know
sir.
you're going
Thank
to
you.
be great, and I can't wait to hear about more of the successes and more of your accomplishments as you continue to grow into this fine young man that you are, sir.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.